Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to RetroTechComms. I'm your host, Jacob of RetroTech, and tonight we are doing something very special. So, inexplicably, the Mystery Flesh Pit video, both of them seem to have done spectacularly well. Way beyond my expectations, they have done well. The first part on YouTube is sitting at around 350 views. And the second part is around 150 views. But apparently the original creator of the Mystery Flesh Pit saw the videos, and they directly thanked me in the comment section. They thanked me for linking their Patreon and whatnot. So I thought that was very cool. And then they proceeded to also follow me on Twitter. So that's neat. But inexplicably, they did well. So I'm here with another story time. How many of you have heard of the SCP Foundation? Show of hands, show of hands. I'm just kidding. It's a screen. You can't see hands. I can't see your hands. You can't see hands either. I don't know. I'm trying to be clever. Anyway, welcome to RetroTechComms. I'm going to read some SCP Foundation entries. Now, the SCP Foundation is something that I am well aware of. I have been for years, and the SCP Foundation is honestly, it's spectacular. I love the SCP Foundation, and so might as well go ahead and read some entries. Okay, wow, amazing. So the first entry I decided to go to, it says, by order of the Overseer Council, this file is subject to level 4 classification. Level 4 clearance is required. So I guess we're not reading SCP-008. I do have a list of SCPs that I am going to read, and I have some audience suggestions from the Discord that I'm going to read from. But I guess we're not reading that one. So we're going to go to the one that everyone knows about. We shall start with SCP-173, because I figured why not? Let's just start with it. Why not? I figure, why not? Peanut. Yes, apparently it's Peanut. And I hope you all like that art of Peanut that I have there next to my little ghost character. I drew that myself. I really like the idea for the storytime streams, specifically having art that I have custom made for the stream. But with that, let me turn off this ambience and let's get the other ambience in place. And so the containment breach has begun. Yeah, apparently someone decided to make like a whole 30-minute ambience track of like the SCP Foundation when it's in containment breach. So that's neat. I like that. Let's start with SCP-173. It's the most famous one. Everyone knows about Peanut, apparently. But SCP is item number, it's SCP-173. It is an object class Euclid. Is Euclid the correct pronunciation? I genuinely don't know if Euclid is correct. So I'm just gonna go with it. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the door is to be re-locked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: Moved to Site-19, 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping snapping the neck at the base of the skull, or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. So, imagine that. Imagine it is your job to go into this containment area with this object, with SCP-173, and your job is to clean the feces and blood that accumulates on the ground. That is horrifying. All while, as a janitor, you have to maintain eye contact. I don't even want to know how they're even supposed to begin cleaning this properly without dying. Cleaning Peanuts shit. Let's go. Yeah, indeed. So, something interesting that I learned about SCP-173 right here. There's creator information. So, apparently, the image of SCP-173 is copyrighted. This is a real statue that someone made. The image used in the SCP-173 article is the piece, quote-unquote, Untitled 2004 by Izumi Kato. The photograph was taken by Kaisuke Yamamoto. All rights are reserved by the artist. So, if you read all this, apparently they have graciously allowed the image of this statue to be the image of SCP-173, but you can't use it commercially at all because the design, the statue itself, the photograph, everything, iconography, is copyrighted. So that would explain why in the Unity version of SCP Containment Breach, SCP-173's design is completely different. So I find that interesting. But yeah, this is the most famous lad. This is Peanut, SCP-173. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Let's go to the next one. So I have here listed number 12. And for whatever reason, when I use this search bar, it doesn't take me to individual SCPs. I have to go into that search bar, and then I have to use an additional filter in order to get to the actual entry I want. And even then, it brings me to the discussion board. I don't know why it's like this. Why doesn't your search bar work properly, guys? Come on. How old is your website? So, SCP-012, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-012 is to be kept in a darkened room at all times. If the object is exposed to light or seen by personnel using a light frequency other than infrared, remove personnel or mental health screening and immediate physical. Object is to be encased in an iron shield box, suspended from the ceiling with a minimum clearance of 2.5 meters, 8 feet from the floor, walls and any openings. Google search takes you right there. Still annoying though. Yeah, but then I have to open this, and then you'll see all this, and then I have to go SCP-012, and then it brings up this, and then I have to click this, and no, that's dumb. This search bar should work as a search bar. I don't get it. What flavor of spooky fuckery is this one? This is the SCP Foundation, and I was in the middle of reading this article. This is SCP-012. Description: SCP-12 was retrieved by archaeologist K.M. Sandoval during the excavation of a northern Italian tomb destroyed by a recent storm. The object, a piece of handwritten musical score entitled On Mount Golgotha. Excuse me. I almost said Golgotha. Golgotha. part of a larger set of sheet music, appears to be incomplete. The red-black ink, first thought to be some form of berry or natural dye ink, was later found to be human blood from multiple subjects. The first personnel to locate the sheet, Site 19 Special Salvage, had 2 members descended to insanity attempting to use their own blood to finish the composition, ultimately resulting in massive blood loss and internal trauma. Following initial investigations, multiple test subjects were allowed access to the score. In every case, the subjects mutilated themselves in order to use their own blood to finish the piece, resulting in subsequent symptoms of psychosis and massive trauma. Those subjects who managed to finish a section of the piece immediately committed suicide, declaring the piece to be impossible to complete. Attempts to perform the music have resulted in a disagreeable cacophony, with each instrumental part having no correlation or harmony with the other instruments. Jesus! Are we feeling spooky now, lads? Interesting. Golgotha? Yeah, on Mount Golgotha. Here. I'll play a little bit of it. Here we are. So this is on Mount Golgotha. Oh wait, it says SCP-012 soundtrack. What? Hold on. Can I get a comment section? Anyway, let's see if we could skip to a... This is not on Mount Golgotha. What the hell? Wait, Wait, hold on. I think I might be... Hold on, let me check my phone real quick. Because I could have swore this was a classical piece of music. Hold on a second. Yeah. Golgotha. Wait a minute. I am so confused. I have a piece on my phone that's called Golgotha. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. I forgot. The End is Nigh OST. The title of like the boss or the area is the first title, and then the second title. Okay, I mixed up Golgotha with Night on Bald Mountain. Because in the soundtrack, Golgotha is Night on Bald Mountain. It's not a real piece. I'm fucking stupid. Okay, so it's not a... I could have swore it was the classical piece of music. I'm dumb, everyone. Let's move on. We already know that I'm dumb. Let's just swiftly move forth. SCP-035. Oh, wow. Look at that. It actually brought me to the thing. Oh, goody. We have our first Keter class. So this is SCP-035. Depiction of SCP-035 without its ever-present secretions. Excuse me. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-035 is to be kept within a hermetically sealed glass case, no fewer than 10 centimeters 4 inches thick. This case is to be contained within a steel, iron, and lead-shielded room at all times. Doors are to be triple locked at all times, with the exception of allowing personnel in or out. No fewer than 2 armed guards are to be posted at any time. Guards must remain outside at all times and are not allowed within the containment room under any circumstances. A trained psychologist is to remain on site at all times. Jesus Christ! Research personnel are not to touch SCP-035 at any time. SCP-035 must be moved to a new sealed case every 2 weeks. The previous case must be disposed of by a SCP-101. Okay, we're going to look at that in a little bit. As it shows no adverse reactions to SCP-035's corruption. Anyone who comes into contact with SCP-035 when it is in possession of a host is to be given an immediate psychological evaluation. Holy shit, what the hell? That's what Golgotha means. It means roughly Bald's place of Skull Place. That might be where it was derived from. Bald Place or Skull Place. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so I'm not entirely stupid. I was just a little bit misled. I took 3 lefts instead of a right. This just a Dr. Fate mask? Dr. Fate mask. I don't think that's Dr. Fate's mask. This is Dr. Fate's mask. This is not. Okay. SCP-035 appears to be a white porcelain comedy mask, although at times it will change to tragedy. In these events, all existing visual records such as photographs, video footage, even illustrations of SCP-035 automatically change to reflect its new appearance. Oh, that's fucking creepy. A highly corrosive and degenerative viscous liquid constantly seeps from the eyes and mouth holes of SCP-035. Anything coming into contact with the substance slowly decays over a period of time, depending on the material, until it has decayed completely into a pool of the original containment, contaminant. Glass seems to react the slowest to the effects of the item, hence the construction choice of an immediate container. Living organisms that come into contact with the substance react much the same way, with no chance of recovery. Origin of the liquid is unknown. Liquid is only visible from the front and does not emerge or is even visible from the other side. Subjects within 1.5 to 2 meters, 5 to 6 feet of SCP-035, or in visual contact with it experience a strong urge to put it on. When SCP-035 is placed on the face of an individual, an alternate brainwave pattern from SCP-035 overlaps that of the original host, effectively snuffing it out and causing brain death to the subject. Subject then claims to be the conscience contained within SCP-035. The bodies of possessed subjects decay at a highly accelerated rate, eventually becoming little more than mummified corpses. Nevertheless, SCP-035 has demonstrated the ability to remain in cognitive control of a body experiencing severe structural damage. Even if the subject's body literally decays to the point where motion is not mechanically possible, no effect is found to be had when placed on the face of an animal. Conversations with SCP-035 have proven to be informative. Researchers have learned various details about other SCP subjects and history in general, as SCP-035 claims to have been at many momentous events. SCP-035 displays a highly intelligent and charismatic personality, being both amiable and flattering to all those who speak with it. SCP-035 has scored the 99th percentile on all intelligence and aptitude tests administered to it and appears to have a photographic memory. However, psychological analysis has discovered SCP-035 to possess a highly manipulative nature, capable of forcing sudden and profound changes to interviewers' psychological state. SCP-035 has proven to be highly sadistic, prompting some to commit suicide, and transforming others into near-mindless servants with linguistic persuasion alone. Holy fuck, I forgot to put on my ambience. Back to what I was talking about. SCP has stated that it has intimate knowledge of the workings of the human mind, has implied that it could change anyone's views if given enough time. Additional, SCP-035 was found in a sealed crypt in an abandoned house in Venice in 18 redacted. Addendum 35-01. My friend is now playing Cookie Clicker, apparently. Thank you, notification, for showing up. A powerful cosmic entity possesses the wearer, drives them crazy, fun stuff. Charisma mask is cool. I don't know about that. SCP-035 has been found to be able to possess anything that has a humanoid shape, including mannequins, corpses, and statues. SCP-035 has been able to motivate all into movement, removing the need to expose live subjects to SCP-035. That's convenient. Still, anything it possesses inevitably decays into motionlessness. Addendum 35-02. SCP-035 has facilitated an escape attempt, convincing several of the research staff to aid in its bid for freedom. Insurrection failed. All staff that have been in contact with SCP-035 has been terminated, and mandatory psychiatric evaluations have been implemented for all personnel coming into contact with SCP-035. Addendum 35-3. It has been determined that SCP-035 is capable of telepathy, whether or not it possesses a host, even penetrating to the consciousness of others, and using the knowledge it finds in it to its advantage. Extreme caution is advised when choosing subjects to converse with SCP-035. Addendum 035-04. SCP-035 has expressed an interest in other SCPs, most notably SCP-4715 and SCP-682. Dr. Redacted has expressed worry that should SCP-035 bond with either, their regenerative qualities would negate its corruption and give it a permanent host. That makes sense. That makes sense. Addendum 35-5. After several more escape attempts and after review... This is a long entry. Holy crap. After several more escape attempts and after reviewing SCP-035's incident report, High Command has ordered that it be permanently sealed within the facility and prohibited from being allowed any more hosts. Several personnel have protested against this, with some even erupting into violence. As a direct result, all personnel that have come into contact with SCP-035 have been terminated. Going forward, all personnel that deal with SCP-035 are to be rotated frequently, and contact is to be limited even to its dormant state to as little as possible. God damn. Addendum 35-6. Personnel within 10 meters of SCP-035 have recently reported feeling unease, stating that they can hear unintelligible whispering. Several others have suffered from severe migraines. Object has been monitored, but there is no change to its dormant behavior, and no sounds have been recorded. The motion to reinstate SCP-035's host privileges has been brought up once more, if only on a temporary basis, to discover these new changes in the subject's behavior. Denied. Addendum 35-7. The walls of SCP-035's containment cell have suddenly begun secreting a black substance. Tests on the substance have revealed it to be human blood, although highly contaminated with several foreign and unknown agents. Substance is corrosive, having a pH of 4.5, and prolonged exposure to the walls has proven to be detrimental to their structural integrity. More notably, it seems to be forming patterns on the walls. Several segments seem to be paragraphs in various languages, including Italian, Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit. Translation is pending. Other segments appear to be diagrams depicting ritualistic sacrifice and mutilation, often for the arcane benefit of the person committing them. Several staff members have been shocked to note that all of the sacrifices bear an uncanny resemblance to various personnel and their loved ones, often in conflicting positions. Wow. Researchers, while in the room examining these newly formed patterns, have complained of hearing loud whispering and high-pitched, unnerving laughter at irregular intervals. Personnel in the section working daily near and around SCP-035's containment unit has suffered catastrophic morale damage, with an all-time high in... I'm going to stop saying this word, rates. Here, hold on. In rates. God, I've lost my spot. Oh lord, I have lost my spot. Oh, there we are. And staff in that area, whether or not they have ever had contact with SCP-035. The only change in SCP-035's dormant behavior is regarding its contained glass case. Degradation of the case has increased to a high degree, enough so that the glass will occasionally shatter, causing a wide dispersal of SCP-035's containment. This occurs quite often in the most inopportune times, so far resulting in 6 casualties and 3 fatalities of both research and cleanup staff. Jesus Christ. This thing is storied. This has some extensive lore. Holy crap. Addendum 35-8. In light of the mass and of the members of the research team tasked with translating the passages garnered from SCP-035's containment cell, the morale damage in the area, and general loss of staff dealing with SCP-035 to either death or insanity, has been decided to coat the inner and outer walls of the containment cell with SCP-148. What the hell SCP is that? Which has proven well in the containment of SCP-132. Alright. See document 132-01. In order to hopefully block out the high levels of negativity being emitted by SCP-035. Addendum 35-9. The use of SCP-148 has worked well, causing morale and rates to return to near pre-SCP-035 rates. However, the material appears to facilitate the negativity within the cell, causing a veritable greenhouse effect inside. Personnel inside the cell have stated that they feel a heavy sense of dread, fear, anger, and general depression, as well as hearing constant, nearly inaudible whispering upon immediate entry. A prolonged stay causes severe migraines tendencies, heavy hemorrhaging of blood vessels around the eyes and inside the mouth and nose, general hostility to others, and for the whispering to increase to almost deafening volumes, intersected by a constant mocking laughter. Exposure to more than 3 hours inevitably results in the subject falling into deep psychosis and attempting to harm either themselves or others. Most spoke in Latin or Greek, despite the fact that several did not previously know how to speak said languages beforehand. The presence of blood in both word and diagram formations has increased disproportionately. The walls becoming cluttered, and the formations beginning to overlap each other. The substance has proven to be both difficult to clean and even more corrosive than was originally recorded, with a pH roughly 2.4. General estimation gives the current walls a life of 2 months before they need replacement. It is becoming gradually more and more difficult to contain SCP-035, and the debate to reinstate its host privileges has once again come up. Denied. Addendum 35-10. The walls, ceiling, and floor of SCP-35's containment cell have now been completely saturated in blood. All personnel entering and guarding the area must wear full hazmat protection suits. Constant cleaning efforts are being instated. Good lord. Addendum 35-11. The magnitude, intensity, and recurrence of the phenomena that still occur within SCP-035's containment cell has increased to an alarming degree. The cell door has been known to become locked of its own accord while personnel are inside and unable to be opened for a period of time. Appendages form out of the larger puddles of blood and often attempt to grab or harm personnel near them. Blurry apparitions have started appearing to staff. Electronic devices no longer work inside the cell, and the light cannot be turned on, though there is no physical reason why it does not work, forcing those entering to use non-electric based light sources. Cleaning measures are having no discernible effect on the cell, and the walls are degrading at a very high rate, forcing them to be replaced within a week at best. Although the blood makes it nearly impossible to properly achieve this, SCP-035 may have been moved to a new cell entirely, with the old one sealed off and disengaged from the rest of the facility. Good fucking lord. Holy shit. This thing is dangerous. God damn. God damn. I would classify this as a monster. It's a Keter level threat for a reason. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Okay, so apparently its stuff is being thrown off into SCP-101's containment. Let's see what SCP-101 is. SCP-101, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-101 is currently stored in the sub-basement 0-2 of Site-19, inside of a standard fireproof document lockbox within a reinforced concrete room of standard facility size. Said room is to be fitted in externally with a standard double-door airlock and internally fitted with appropriate safety response equipment as well as biological response equipment. Only personnel of Level 3 are permitted to enter SCP-101's holding room. Personnel of Level 2 or lower are permitted to interact with SCP-101 only with directives from Level 3 or higher personnel or with standing directives. The airlock for SCP-101 is set to a standard 10-minute cycle, during which standard screening scans for biological environmental hazards will be made. SCP-101 is under standing directives for use during 0600 and 2000 hours. I don't know how 24 hours work, how you say that. Outside of the airlock of the holding room for SCP-101, 2 Level 2 guards are to be posted at all times with overlapping shifts. Jesus. It's like the Jurassic Park raptors. It's testing for weakness, and that's fucking terrifying. Yes, it is. It is absolutely testing for weaknesses. Holy crap. Anyway. Description. SCP-101 appears to be a satchel or bag of intermittent size, with observations ranging from an opening of 15 centimeters in diameter to 70 centimeters in diameter. The depth of the container has varied with no standard means of equality to the relative diameter. The primary feature of SCP-101 is what appears to be a semi-humanoid mouth contained within the opening of the bag, with a mean standard of 31 centimeters of depth into the container, without more than 2 standard deviations of variance regardless of the apparent external depth of the container. The mouth consists of 32 teeth of an off-white hue, all of natural shape and size, consisting solely of incisors of approximately 10 centimeters in length. It has... oh my god, what the hell? It's a bag of holding that eats. It's a bag of holding that eats. Holy crap. It has been observed, albeit not measuring with accuracy, that within the mouth there is a tongue of indeterminate length, with observations ranging from 50 centimeters to 3.5 meters. Jesus Christ. It's a bag of holding that's a mimic. It's a mimic that got stuck as a bag. Oh my god, it's a mimic that got stuck as a bag. The mouth appears wet and spongy. Well, however, all attempts at removal of possible fluids have resulted in failure with damage to the instruments and harm to the personnel. The current decision is that SCP-101 may be part of a larger entity of extra-dimensional origin. SCP-101 is not externally mobile. However, internal movements within the container can affect minor movements of the exterior of the container that consists of SCP-101's covering. It is understood that due to the nature of the size and probabilities of the container and object within, the object is of extra-dimensional interaction, if not origin. SCP-101 has exhibited polymorphic abilities as well as low-level sentience. The photo on file depicts the item as it was discovered in 1979 in a remote area of the Cascade Mountains in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Found along with SCP-101 was the decayed remains of a human clad in a weathered black suit. Oh my god. Seated upon an also weathered parachute, missing the right arm up to the joint of the shoulder, which appear to have bite marks through the remaining bones, assumed to have been inflicted by SCP-101. Speculation as to the identity of this deceased individual has led researchers to the conclusion that it was one D.B. Cooper, remains removed for the purposes of concealing the existence of SCP-101. SCP-101 has since changed appearance and shape with the apparent end of enticing a subject into reaching into the container. These appearances have ranged from money satchels to deli boxes to Krispy Kreme containers to candy bags, all of which have an external appearance that is indistinguishable from that of the real containers, and has been proposed by Dr. Redacted that SCP-101 is semi-sentient in its attempts to lure subjects in. At the recommendation of Data Expunged, SCP-101 is currently in use as a means of refuse disposal for Site-19. SCP-101 has not shown adverse reaction to having foreign matter introduced to it, including but not limited to paper products, sewage, cafeteria refuse, metals, polymers, oils, and other products which are not consumable by any biological entity. Addendum 1. So far, SCP-101 has not exhibited any abnormal behaviors from the standard observed, nor has SCP-101 emitted any substances, either foreign, extra-dimensional, or abnormal. However, it is the concern of Dr. Redacted that SCP-101 may produce an emission in the future. Addendum 2. Further examination under the direction of Dr. Redacted has determined that SCP-101 is ideal for the disposal of hazardous waste and byproducts of other SCP-related projects. Dr. Redacted is noted as being opposed to this measure. However, O5-Redacted has given authorization to the project to continue. Cool. It's literally just a mimic in a bag. It's a mimic in a bag. That's cool, though. That's cool. I like that. So, another one that was mentioned was SCP-148. Oh, this is a pretty long one, too, but let's go ahead and do this. SCP-148. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Revision 3. SCP-148 is to be stored as 120 case ingots, each of which weigh approximately 10 kilograms at time of writing. Ingots of SCP-148 may not be housed at the same site as any SCP due to the potential for unforeseen interactions. Otherwise, said ingots should be distributed equally among acceptable Foundation facilities. The mass of each contained ingot of SCP-148 must be measured and reported monthly. Under no circumstances should any SCP with mind-affecting or extrasensory properties come into contact with SCP-148. In the event of such contact, the immediate area must be evacuated and the affected sample of SCP-148 detonated remotely. Okay. Personnel are not to be assigned to SCP-148 for a period of time longer than 3 weeks. Any personnel assigned to SCP-148 are to be given regular psychological evaluations. Oh boy. Description. SCP-148 is a metallic substance composed of a variety of known and unknown elements. The total mass of SCP-148 on hand is approximately 1.2 tons. SCP-148 has a gray screen door with a bluish tinge and oxidizes readily in the presence of water. SCP-148 has a melting transition point of approximately 4,500 degrees Celsius and a boiling transition point of approximately 9,000 degrees Celsius. SCP-148 has a density of 6.76 grams per cubic centimeter and qualifies as HRC 39 at a Rockwell hardness test. It exhibits material properties such as strength, ductility, and workability similar to platinum. SCP-148 is composed primarily of platinum and iridium. the two composing 62 and 20% of its mass, respectively. In addition, several other known metals are present in its composition, including iron, cobalt, and copper, which collectively make up 16.5 of SCP-148's mass. However, given the mass of the material, it is believed there are other substances not detectable by mass spectrometry. Spectrometry? That's a hard word to say. Or other means. Images of SCP-148 taken with a scanning tunnel microscope show gaps in its lattice that under normal circumstances would be filled with other materials. SCP-148 blocks or otherwise hinders extrasensory mind-affecting properties of living organisms in proximity to it. This effect, while difficult to quantify, appears inversely proportional to the square of the distance from the subject to SCP-148's surface and directly proportional to the quantity of SCP-148 in consideration. The range for which this effect is detectable is roughly 0.8 meters per kilogram of SCP-148. The heavier this thing is, the farther away you have to be from it, in other words. Holy shit. Yo! Hey Craig, how's it going? We're reading SCP articles, and it's pretty pogger. 1.1 tons of SCP-148 were retrieved from the Metallurgical Department of Prometheus's lab's base facility during the Foundation's sweep of the building. Documentations concerned with the project have unveiled that the substance was to be subject to additional development, sold to Redacted, trademark, and sold as Telekill Alloy. However, due to Redacted and its political... Thank you, Ambience. However, due to Redacted and its political fallout, along with the destruction of the Prometheus Labs base facility, Redacted has acquired an estimated 1.3 tons of SCP-148 and sold it to unknown buyers. Foundation agents and forensic accountants are in the process of tracking the remaining supplies of SCP-148. Addendum to 148-1. Should I read this? Not sure how hard it would be, but if you had a way to show the SCP on screen while reading it, it would be nice. This one doesn't have a picture. I just heard a roar of a creature. My goodness. This one does not have a picture. Oh, that's nice. There's a nice LGBT logo for the SCP Foundation. That's nice. Anyway, 148-1. Due to its potential use and containment of mind-affecting SCPs, SCP-148 has been approved for cross-testing with SCP subjects. While tests are still in the early stages, tests with low-level anomalous items seem to indicate that SCP-148 will be an effective tool in containing said items. However, it does not appear to affect those items. Those notable properties are purely mimetic. Addendum 148-02. Beginning unknown of the year unknown, staff reported irrational behavior and poor communication skills among janitorial staff tasked with regular maintenance of SCP-148's containment. There's a footnote 1. At the time, containment consists of single storerooms swept and checked on a daily basis. Oh, okay. After 3 weeks of increasingly abnormal behavior, 2 custodians were taken in for questioning and examination. Testing revealed that the aforementioned personnel were incapable of interpreting body language and did not appear to notice the intonation of phrasing of sentences. In addition, the affected subjects were incapable of determining the emotional state or intent of others and demonstrating severe limited vocabulary. Further testing has revealed that the language and communication skills of persons with regular contact or extended exposure to SCP-148 will, over time, deteriorate and disappear. It has been shown that after 8 weeks, affected subjects will be rendered completely mute and incapable of understanding or giving nonverbal requests, commands, or other statements, despite showing otherwise normal mental capacity. Addendum 148-03. A measure taken on of unknown of the year unknown, an unknown amount of months after the Foundation's acquisition of SCP-148 indicated that despite no increase in volume, SCP-148 has increased in mass by 0.1 tons, a density increase of 9%. The source of this additional mass is unknown. Looks like this one is just a slab. So it's some sort of like big pile of metal ingots, or like a big chunk of like metal. And it seems to have these mind-affecting things. Incident Report 148 Unknown-1. To test the limits of SCP-148's effects and its capacity to change in mass, 0.9 kilograms of it was placed on a scale to test the limits. Scale and moved to SCP-Redacted's chamber. Predictably, SCP-Redacted's Redacted was nullified by SCP-148's presence. However, the sample of SCP-148 began to grow in mass by upwards of 5 grams per second. After 1 minute, this rate began to decrease, and SCP-148 ceased to increase in mass 40 seconds in, at which point it weighed 1.4 kilograms. It remained at this mass for 8 seconds before plummeting to 0.8 kilograms in the space of 2 seconds. During this time, personnel within 60 meters, 12 times the effective range of SCP-Redacted, began to experience SCP-Redacted's effects, albeit at a vastly increased rate, resulting in data expunged, lockdown until the affected subjects could be removed. As of this incident, contact between SCP-148 and any mind-affecting items is strictly forbidden. Addendum 148-04. Hold on. The non-organic and non-sapient/sentient SCPs are neat. They are! Like, genuinely, they are. You missed, there was an entry earlier. It was SCP-035, I believe. That was a mask that could like animate like mannequins and whatnot, and it did some fucked up shit. It did some fucked up shit. But yeah, the non-organic SCPs are super interesting. Like this is a big ol' like ingot of metal that acted like a precipitation sort of device that just broadcast this SCP's effect. That's so cool. That's horrifying, but that's cool. Measurements taken since Incident 148 Redacted-1 indicate that the combined mass of SCP-148 is increasing at a rate of Redacted. It is speculated that should a large quantity of SCP-148 undergo an event similar to the sample used in Experiment 148-Redacted, data expunged, containment procedures are under review. So neat. So SCP-035 also mentioned this one, SCP-132-ARC. So let's see what this is. Apparently SCP-132 is a moist woman. This page was marked for deletion, however, because certain pages on the site depend on knowledge of this article, usually tales or supplements, it has been retained. The following articles and stories make reference to this page. SCP-035, 1550-J, Jesus, speak Jacob, The Foundation and Evil, Decom Anon, and translated from, I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay. So apparently this one is, S035 is a popular one. I could see why. That was a cool one. But that one I consider sentient given it needs a host. Yeah. So, SCP-132, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-132 is to be accommodated in a 4 meter by 3 meter room located 8 kilometers below the surface level of Site-19. Walls of this room are to be lined with no less than 12 millimeters of SCP-148. Oh god, which one was SCP-148 again? Oh, that's right. The fucking metal. Duh. The room contains standard living appliances and furniture, as well as a few luxuries, including a television without cable, VCR, and DVD player. SCP-132 is given a moderate selection of entertainment consisting of literature, CDs, video cassettes, and DVDs. Is this literally just a woman? These forms of entertainment may be those released prior to SCP-132's admission. SCP-132 has access to a computer terminal designed solely for communication with 2/132 redacted and other qualified personnel. The south wall of the room features a door which leads to a high-speed elevator with access to the surface. SCP-132 is to be accessed once every 6 hours for nutritional sustenance and observation. SCP-132 is permitted to deny and therefore postpone up to 2 tests in a 24-hour span. SCP-132 is permitted to temporarily leave special containment procedures under supervision of a single Level 1 personnel. All personnel who interact with SCP-132 are to be evaluated to determine that they have no contemporary traumatic personal issues. If a dark fluid begins to ooze from SCP-132's eyes, nose, or mouth, SCP-132 is to be immediately escorted back to containment unless authoritative personnel elect the opportunity to perform examination. You've grown to love SCP a lot. It's really quite fascinating, genuinely. It's like how it's not just monsters, it's literally just an organization that deals with paranormal/abnormal entities and events. It's really fucking cool. I like the SCP Foundation a lot, and it's cool. And their classifications aren't danger levels. Yeah, I agree. That's also really cool. That's just how hard they are to contain. Well, generally, like if we're talking like a Euclid class, you can sort of interact with it, but it's under like strict rules. And generally, if it's a Keter class, it wants to kill you. So it kind of indicates safety levels or danger levels, but it's also like how hard it is to contain. That is true. Let's see. SCP-132 is an ethnic... hold on. I'm going to figure out how to pronounce this. How to pronounce that. Fine, I'll click on your YouTube video. How do you pronounce it? Palauan. Palauan. Okay, cool. Thank you. What are the most dangerous SCPs is considered safe? Which SCP would that be? So, SCP-132 is an ethnic Palauan human female in her early to mid-20s with a height of approximately 152 centimeters and a mass of approximately 52 kilograms. SCP-132 objects to being referred to her SCP-132 objects to being referred by her SCP designation and prefers her own title, Dolores. I mean, fair enough. I don't want to be a designated number. I want a name. SCP-132 is of average intelligence, having an IQ of 113. SCP-132 is fluent in English and Palauan and can speak limitedly in Japanese. SCP-132 requires all the basic sustenance of a regular human: food, drink, sleep, etc. SCP-132 is diagnosed with esophageal peptic ulcer disease, but is otherwise completely healthy. SCP-132, when successfully isolated from other humans, has a Euthemic? Oh god, hold on. I gotta know how to pronounce this. How to pronounce that.
Short-haired animal.
I don't... Short-haired animal. Fucking YouTube video. Just tell me how to pronounce the goddamn thing.
Euthemic.
Euthemic. Euthemic. Okay. Let me find it. To be fair, it's not safe, but due to the way it works, it has to be classified as safe. Yeah, please give me that entry. We'll read that next. Euthemic Disposition. SCP-001, Scarlet King. Oh. Just the very first entry. Okay. Has a euthemic disposition. However, when in the direct presence of others, SCP-132 will accumulatively acquire the negative or positive dispositions of those present. SCP-132 apparently has no control over these abilities. The radius of this effective absorbance is unknown. It has been recorded to reach ranges of 7,800 kilometers. Jesus. Though the strength of the radius effectively decreases with altitude or depth. So essentially, this is a woman that can read the vibes. For better or for worse. Because of the vast numbers of those on Earth suffering outnumbering those flourishing, negative disposition frequently outweighs positive. SCP-148 has been found to help filter outside human effects during these effective absorptions. SCP-132 will exude a dark, viscous liquid from her facial orifices. CAT scans have revealed this liquid to originate in the pharynx. Although its ultimate origin is presently unknown, the amount of this fluid secreted is dependent on how severely negative disposition outweighs the positive. This woman literally detects the vibe check, and she cries substances if the vibes are bad. Holy shit. Analysis has shown that the liquid is composed 40% of bodily fluids, mucus, blood, bile, and cytoplasm, and most of the remainder is unidentified. Black acid of pH 2.3 remainder unidentified black acid of pH 2.3. There we go. Unsurprisingly, SCP-132 will complain that this substance burns the inside of her face. Oh, Jesus. Other symptoms of SCP-132's effective absorption include migraines, depression, aches, nausea, convulsion, hypochondria, paranoia, hallucinations, and what have been substantiated to be factual visions. Visions are mostly exclusive of past and present situations involving mass deaths. The severity of these symptoms varies depending on the level of negative effects, negative effect. Jesus Christ, Jacob. SCP-132 experiences. SCP-132's room has been successfully installed and reinforced of SCP-148. See Addenda 148. SCP-132 is responding well and no longer requires active access to anti-symptomatic medications. Addendum 132-02. SCP-132 has requested psychiatric conditioning of her abilities. Request approved. Acquisition of a qualified parapsychological psychiatrist is pending. Document 132-1 concerning SCP-132's discovery and admission. SCP-132 was born in Data Expunged, Palau in 1980, Data Expunged, and has lived there most of her life. She has reportedly experienced these absorption abilities for as long as she can remember. SCP-132 was discovered when Agent Redacted was vacationing in Data Expunged, Palau, in 2000 unknown, and encountered SCP-132 displaying her odd behavior. Interested, Agent Redacted approached SCP-132 and inquired about her condition. Upon concluding the SCP-132 warranted special containment procedures, he recommended SCP-132 submit herself to the Foundation, promising to suppress SCP-132's abilities. SCP-132 hastily agreed because of Agent Redacted's unprofessional approach to SCP-132's admission, referred to Protocol 12 of Retrieval Code of Conduct. He was subsequently terminated. Damn. Okay. Okay, so let's look at 001. Liquid vibe. That's true. I'll read that one for sure. It's so cool. Also, there's a lot of SCP-001 entries. I'm still not sure why, but I've seen 3 different 001 entries. Oh fuck, I just looked up why. SCP-001 is so important that in order to prevent the information from being leaked, they make many entries under the SCP-001 denomination. Unless I miscounted, there are 37 SCP-001 entries. Holy shit, okay. Oh my god! The following files have been classified top secret by order of the Administrator. General Notice 001-Alpha. In order to prevent knowledge of SCP-001 from being leaked, several /no false SCP-001 files have been created alongside the true files. All files concerning the nature of 001 include the decoys, including the decoys/decoys, are protected by a mimetic kill agent designed to immediately cause cardiac arrest to any non-authorized personnel attempting to access the file. Revealing the true natures of SCP-001 to the general public is cause for execution, except as required by redacted. Alright, we're not reading this. I don't need to suffer another heart attack. Let's fucking go. Let's see. Next entry. We have SCP 049. I am not suffering another heart attack tonight, gentlemen. Let's go. SCP-04. Oh, I'm good. Oh, holy fuck. That's an image. That's an image right there. Apparently, the one of the 001 entries is something called the Guardian. It's depicted as an angel with a big sword. A flaming sword. A big flaming sword. God is an SCP. Type in Scarlet King. Alright, here we go. Oh god, I can make the image big. Okay, let's see. Alright, Scarlet King. Here we go. Scarlet Reject. Is this it? I don't know. No, this is not it. Okay. SCP-001 Scarlet King. If you could please link it. Craig, if you could please link it for me, that would be much appreciated. Ah, there we go. Cool. Okay. SCP-001. Object Class Keter. No, it's safe. Okay. Special Containment Procedures. Following the recent investigations of Dr. Robert Montauk, no action is currently needed to contain SCP-001. It is functionally self-containing, and any Foundation interference may harm or alter its containment irreversibly. No Foundation personnel are to engage with any new matters relating to SCP-001, with the exception of related anomalies already in the Foundation containment. Description: SCP-001 is an entity ordinarily referred to as the Scarlet King. SCP-001 is currently located in several alternate dimensions simultaneously and is unable to enter into the prime dimension. However, it is believed to have been repeatedly attempting entry for a period of under 300 years. SCP-001's physical, mental, and conceptual properties are unknown to the Foundation. Nevertheless, it continues to assert a strong influence on a number of individuals and events within the prime dimension. It is believed that SCP-001's existence represents an ongoing but dormant Tashkent class cross-pollination scenario. The hell is that? A K-class scenario wherein the imminent alteration of reality or eradication of all human life is caused by the interaction between two anomalous objects of a radically different type. Holy fuck, what? Should SCP-001 enter the prime timeline, an irreparable alteration to normalcy will occur. Containment of SCP-001 as a top priority is, however, unnecessary. Okay. Any attempt to alter SCP-001's classification or object class will result in immediate dismissal from the 05 Council. References in art and oral tradition to SCP-001 appear across a wide variety of human and non-human cultures across the universe. Okay, SCP Foundation just confirmed aliens. Jesus. Oh my god. Including in communications that have never previously had any contact with one another. Common descriptions of these traditions are of a red creature of immense size, ordinarily wearing a golden crown or any other headdress signifying royalty. Although the name ascribed to SCP-001 vary, the majority contain two elements: a word signifying some form of royalty combined with the word signifying the color red. Cultures which do not have a concept of the color red but follow the naming pattern universally use a color analogous to the English concept of the color red. Most personnel, except those working on anomalies related to SCP-001, possess no knowledge of the entity. As part of SCP-2317's containment procedures, Level 4 personnel, with the exception of Dr. Robert Montauk, project lead on SCP-001, SCP-231, and SCP-2317, are to be informed that SCP-2317 is in fact SCP-001. The truth of this is unknown, although it is a hypothesis which has received strong support among several members of the Council. The apparently multidimensional nature of SCP-001, however, renders the possibility of SCP-2317 being anything more than a single aspect of SCP-001 unlikely. Oh, this is already a roller coaster. This is already a roller coaster. Holy shit. It is unknown when SCP-001 was discovered. The loss of several archives concerning the Foundation's origin in the 1889 Snarling coup has prevented a full reconstruction of events. Although an investigation shortly following data expunged, a variety of groups dedicated to bringing SCP-001 into the Prime Dimension have existed over the years. The most recent of these has been the Children of the Scarlet King, which was destroyed in a joint GOC-SCP operation in January of 2018. Its former leader, Depeche Spivak, is currently in Foundation custody under the designation POI 3172. Update January 6th of 2018. SCP-001 has recently been the subject to an extensive investigation by Dr. Robert Montauk, project lead on SCP-001, SCP-231, and SCP-2317, and deviser of Procedure 110-Montauk. Based on the results of this investigation, SCP-001 has been downgraded to safe following a decision made by the O5 Council. Upon the request of the former O5-13, a number of documents related to this investigation can be found below. In order to provide context and further information pertaining to this theory, these have been curated, categorized, and included by the former O5-13 herself with the permission of O5-1 in order to provide some context to this reevaluation. Phase 1, blood. Phase 2, concrete. Phase 3, the howling. What the hell am I reading? What the hell am I reading? Holy shit. SCP could have an entry for the flying spaghetti monster. I wouldn't even blink. That's true. I keep getting more quiet when I lean back. Are you drinking from a honey bottle? Yes, I am. I'm drinking from a bear. Okay, so this is interesting. So wait. I don't exactly understand what SCP 001 exactly is. Is it just I don't know what this is. But okay. That's interesting. Let's go back to not this one. Oh yeah, the heart attack thing. Oh, there isn't anything here. Oh, hold on. Any non-authorized personnel accessing this file will be immediately terminated through Berryman Langford mimetic kill agent. Scrolling down without proper mimetic inoculation will result in immediate cardiac arrest followed by death. You have been warned. Well, there's nothing here, and oh my god, there it is. Holy shit. My chest feels alright. Okay. I think we're good. Mimetic kill agent activated. Continued life signs confirmed. Removing safety interlocks. Welcome authorized personnel. Please select your desired file. I live, bitch. Oh, that's entertaining. I didn't realize you had to scroll down so far. Select your desired file. I must have something blocked. Is it Avast? Fuck off, Avast. It might be ad block. Let me turn it off for this website. Ah! Oh my god. Yep, there it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Newly declassified. Codenamed Pikmin/blank. Oh my god. Codename oh my lord. Keter duty. Codename Dr. Gears. Codename The Conspiracy. Codename oh my okay. You know what? I'm gonna make an executive decision. SCP-001 is going to be its own dedicated stream. I'm just gonna say that now. SCP-001 is its own dedicated stream. Alright? Because there's a lot here, and I am very fascinated by 001. SCP-001 is going to be its own stream. Alright? So I'm sorry to blue ball you like that, but we're gonna save that for another time. Let's move on to 049. Krog works for the Foundation confirmed. Apparently I work for the Foundation too. And you do too, and anyone else watching this. This does not taste like honey. Nah, I just wanted Scarlet King. There are a lot of good ones, though. Yeah, regardless, though, because they went through so much effort with 001 to make it that, like, fanciness, they gave it all that fanciness. I'm going to make that, like, its own specific stream, because holy crap. All right, moving swiftly along. Actually, you know what? We've been working off of my list. We'll get to 49 eventually. Let's go to some of my audience suggestions, because I have here a list of a couple entries that are some favorites amongst the Discord people. So let's go with the first one I have listed, 2774. Well, shit. Okay, let's scroll this way. Okay, never mind. I chose poorly. Series 3. There we are. 2774. The Slow Burn Sloth. That's a sloth, alright. Let's see. I've actually been considering making my own SCP just for fun. You're gonna make an OC? Are you, Craig Craigerson, going to make your own OC? Do it. SCP's fun. Alright. Item number SCP-2774. Object Class Keter. Let me actually look in the Discord and see who exactly suggested 2774. That would be Frost. Alright, Frost, we're reading your entry, or one of your entries. Special Containment Procedures. All instances of SCP-2774 are to be destroyed upon recovery. Webcrawler A03G32 has been set in motion, and scan all forms of online visual media for SCP-2774-A, and alert recovery teams upon detection. Teams are assigned to monitor internet and live television for SCP-2774-A. If detected, recovery teams are to be dispatched immediately. Any personnel who are exposed to an instance of SCP-2774 for more than 5 seconds are to be issued Class C amnestics, and temporarily relocated to Site-116. Well, guys, looks like I'm not going to be here for a bit. I guess I need to be relocated. Due to the nature of SCP-2774, it is recommended that researchers assigned to SCP-2774 has some form of deuteranopia, colloquially referred to as red-green color blindness. Oh, okay. Recovery teams are working to recover those affected by SCP-2774 and relocate them to Site-16 to test for a possible cure. Until one is discovered, Site-116 will serve as a permanent residency for all affected persons. Well, guys, looks like I'm going away forever. Sorry. Read Addendum Alpha. Okay. Approval for testing subjects in Site-116 must come with an ethics committee and site overseer. From the Ethics Committee and Site Overseer, Dr. Martin. Subjects kept at Site-116 are to maintain no contact with personnel unless approved by the proper parties. Did you add 682 to the list? There aren't that many, but yes, if you're referring to that specific entry, I do have SCP-682 on the list. Amnestics cause a loss of memory. I see. Thank you. 1861 should be a good one as well. I will add that to the list. SCP 1861. Okay. I've added it to the list. I think you'd personally love that one. Okay. It's up your alley. Thank you. Subjects kept at Site-116 are to be allowed 2 hours a day of social interaction with other subjects. Apparently not. 30 minutes will be designated to the following: breakfast, lunch, courtyard, and dinner. Apparently not. Subjects are not to be allowed to wander outside the designated social areas or stay in groups larger than 5. Apparently not. Subjects will be contained in Euclid-level humanoid containment cells as of October 15th of 2010. Subjects are not to have social interaction of any kind. In addition, subjects must not leave their cells until further notice. Holy crap, what the hell happened? SCP-2774 is any medium which contains SCP-2774-A. SCP-2774-A is a mimetic image of an unknown human entity, presumably wearing a sloth costume. Effects of viewing SCP-2774 set in between 40 to 100 hours after exposure to SCP-2774-A. Those affected will begin to lose the ability to use cognitive functions or make higher-level decisions, except for a period lasting around 150 seconds every 24 hours. This period occurs randomly. Alright guys, we're all gonna go brain dead. Because we've been staring at this fucking image for like how many minutes now? Let's see. SCP-2774-A manifests itself in various forms of non-live media, including movies, television, magazines, and in some cases, personally recorded videos or pictures. SCP-2774-A is typically located in the background of whatever media it appears in. To date, there have been no instances of SCP-2774 on the internet. A single incident in northern Canada where SCP-2774-A appeared on live local television resulted in the relocation of over 4,000 people to Site-116. The image only retains its anomalous properties if the image contains hues of red or green. Hey, we're good! Never mind! So that's why it's in black and white. Therefore, those with deuteranopia, I don't know, or any other forms of color blindness are not affected by SCP-2774. SCP-2774-A is believed to possess mimetic properties that are enhanced based on the number of people it affects. Manifestations of SCP-2774-A appear to become more frequent as the number of living victims increases. After the implementation of Protocol XXJ9, if that's a Roman numeral, I don't know. Oh, wait, no, it can't be because there's the number 9. XXJ9. Reports of manifestation dropped significantly. Tests showed that including the colorblind, SCP-2774 does not affect the majority of people who view it. It is estimated that under 40% of those exposed to SCP-2774 are actually affected. This percentage is also directly affected by the number of living SCP-2774-A victims. When subject to SCP-2774-A's effects, victims appear to move normally based on muscle memory, albeit with slow reaction times. They are very passive and compliant with personnel, willing to answer basic questions and follow commands. Though they display a lack of emotion, while they appear conscious, victims cannot control their actions in any way during this time. Victims, upon entering their 150 seconds of lucidity, are often highly agitated and fearful. Victims may act irrationally while lucid. Those affected report complete memory of time spent without cognitive function, but no ability to comprehend their actions or affect them in any way. Upon initial realization of regained cognitive abilities, most express dread upon realizing the permanence of their situation. In numerous instances, those affected by SCP-2774 report observing SCP-2774-A while their body is acting autonomously. Perception of reality appears to be lost during that time. Subjects are to be considered unstable when conscious and are to be approached with care? No. Not to be approached at any time. Those who have been resettled at Site-116 have displayed an affinity to SCP-2774-A. Art, literature, and effigies of SCP-2774-A can commonly be found hoarded in the corners of subjects' rooms. All objects are presumed to have been created while unconscious. Those objects are commonly traded between subjects during free hours. No. Any such items are to be removed and incinerated, and their creators terminated, along with any subjects seen emulating SCP-2774-A. Okay, we got a cult sloth. Cult sloth is pretty neat, I guess. This still doesn't taste like honey. Okay, let's take a look at the SCP that you suggested. 1861. Let's see. 1861. I said 1861. I said 1861. God, get your fucking search bar together. All right. Is this the correct one? Hold on. Yeah, 1861. All right, SCP-1861. All right. Item number SCP-1861, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. If a manifestation of SCP-1861 is reported, Task Force agents from the nearest Foundation outpost are to reroute traffic away from the affected area and prevent civilian interaction with SCP-1861-B instances. A separate team must be deployed with the specific task of locating and preventing access to SCP-1861-A. As 1861-B instances cannot be destroyed with brute force, diplomatic means of preventing civilian abduction should be undertaken, if at all possible. Foundation misinformation agents positioned in local news sources and weather monitoring sites are to attribute 1861 to irregularities in air pressure and large quantities of dust present in storm water. Civilians who enter SCP-1861-A are to be declared legally dead, with a cause of death attributed to common inclement weather accidents. Early photograph of SCP-1861-A surfacing in a small man-made lake. Is it a boat? Is it a boat? SCP-1861 is an anomalous meteorological phenomenon characterized by heavy precipitation and fog composed of salt water, human blood, and human cerebrospinal fluid. SCP-1861 manifestations are unpredictable, appearing spontaneously and with no regard to an affected area's natural climate and weather patterns. Manifestations typically occur once every 3 to 6 months and have been recorded occurring in numerous regions across the world. Historical records have confirmed that SCP-1861 has existed since as early as the year 1916. The size of the the size of the area covered by SCP-1861 varies from instance to instance, with the largest recorded affected area measuring approximately 5 kilometers squared. Aside from its manifestation, composition, and apparent connection to SCP-1861-A, SCP-1861 displays no additional extra-normal properties. Alright. SCP-1861-A is a single underwater marine vessel that closely resembles B-class boats used by the British Royal Navy in World War I. During each SCP-1861 manifestation, SCP-1861-A will attempt to surface in a body of water that is large enough to contain its full mass. Both natural and man-made bodies of water have hosted manifestations of SCP-1861-A. If no body of water large enough to contain the entirety of SCP-1861-A is present, SCP-1861-A will surface in any collection of water with a surface area large enough to encompass its conning tower and topmost platform, even if the collection of water in question is only several inches deep. goodness. SCP-1861-B are humanoid entities that emerge from SCP-1861-A during SCP-1861 phenomena. SCP-1861-B are dressed in full bodysuits resembling deep-sea diving gear, although with no discernible source of air supply. Instances of SCP-1861-B are uniform in size and possess speed and strength typical of an adult human male, although most instances are sapient and capable of speech. Approximately 9% possess limited intelligence and are only sentient. Instances that are incapable of verbal communication have been recorded making vocalizations similar to the cries of domestic felines, canines, and infant humans. The diving gear worn by SCP-1861-B instances is anomalously durable and cannot be removed except by the instance presently wearing it. If an instance of SCP-1861-B encounters a human subject, it will attempt to persuade the subject into entering SCP-1861-A, claiming that this action will be in the subject's best interest. Subjects who refuse may or may not be forcefully taken to SCP-1861-A, depending on the temperament of SCP-1861-B's instance. Oh my god. Human subjects lured into entering SCP-1861-A will re-emerge during subsequent SCP-1861 manifestations as SCP-1861-B instances. If an SCP-1861-B instance is taken outside SCP-1861's areas of effects, it will be to experience accelerated fatigue and lose consciousness, becoming completely inert until reintroduced to SCP-1861. After a manifestation of SCP-1861 has ended, SCP-1861-A will disappear along with any remaining instances of SCP-1861-B. Oh my god, I am saying that phrase a lot. A similar phenomenon has been observed in SCP-3300, but no causal links have been found. Additionally, blood, a cerebrospinal fluid, and salt water left behind by SCP-1861 will instantly convert to regular rainwater. It's been seen rising out of water on a wet road. It's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. I'm gonna have to censor that ad that showed up. And this is why I have ad block on. Sorry, website. Okay. Let's move on. Let's actually move on to SCP-049, okay? Item number SCP-049. This lad. Special containment procedure. Oh, object class Euclid. Was it a naughty ad? It was not a naughty ad. It just showed my location. Thankfully, not very many people are watching this, so I can just take it down after I download it, but I'm going to have to go in and mosaic blur that. Thank you, ads. Don't show fucking locations in ads. I know where I live. Special containment procedures. SCP-049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 02 at Site 19. SCP-049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel. Outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender, has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calmed, SCP-049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. Huh. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from SCP-049's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Temporary containment procedure updates. See Addendum 049-.3.3. Per Containment Committee Order 049.S19.17.1, SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries. This order shall persist indefinitely until such a time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of 049 can be reached. Description. As soon as I get some water. Reading really parches the throat. Everyone must be hydrated. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time. Oh. The robes and gloves are identical to a thick hide built up on the skin, while the mask is composed of a kind of chitin growing out of the bones of the face. Oh. Okay. Once a plague doctor, always a plague doctor, I suppose. And are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech and a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. The entity claims to have originated in 15th century France, though admits that it is particularly well-traveled. While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern with SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-049's victims have invariably been inconclusive. SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. The space within the bag is seemingly anomalously large, as SCP-049 has been observed pulling objects larger than the bag itself from within it in order to operate on deceased subjects. While these surgeries are not always quote-unquote successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049. These instances do not seem to retain any of the prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little and in generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked or if directed to by SCP-049. SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood humans' physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that the subjects have been quote-unquote cured. Oh, that's cool. We have another picture. He was like peeking over the top there, but I didn't like register that it was a picture of him until I scrolled down. You know, it's really, that is a cool looking Plague Doctor, I gotta say. Whoever designed this Plague Doctor, well done. Well done. I like the mask. It's nice. It retains its classical kind of look, or at least it's a modern interpretation of the classical look, but it's also delightfully creepy. Addendum 049.1 Discovery. SCP-049 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montalban? I don't know how to pronounce that. In southern France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-049-2 as well as SCP-049. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049-2 instances, SCP-049 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 049-2 instances were dispatched, SCP-049 willingly entered Foundation custody. The following interview was conducted by Dr. Raymond Ham during the initial investigation. Oh, cool, we have audio! Voice acting!
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
Is that French? Can we get a translator?
The King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough.
Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham, and I...
Ah, a doctor. A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your speciality, sir?
Cryptobiology. Why?
A medical man, such as myself. Wonders abound. And here, I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. This place, then, this is your laboratory. I had wondered, as clean as it is, and with such little trace of the pestilence here.
The pestilence? What do you mean?
The scourge. The great dying. Come now. You know, what is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence, yes. It abounds outside these walls, you know. So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed. Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see. The cure to end all cures.
When you say the great dying, are you talking about the bubonic plague?
I don't know what that is.
I see. Right, well, the entities our agents encountered at the house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? You reanimated them.
In a manner of speaking, you see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death. Sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians. There is only one ailment that exists in the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else. Make no mistake, they were very ill. All of them.
You think you cured those people?
Indeed. My cure is most effective.
But the things we recovered were not human.
Yes, Well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will come with time and further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more if necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those on my own. In time.
Oh, I don't think our organization would be willing to...
Nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Our work begins now.
Well, that was fucking cool. That was cool. There are entries with, like, audio logs. That's fucking cool. I had no idea. I had no idea at all. Interviewer's note. While SCP-049 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there is a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity indeed. Additionally, we've confiscated that pointed stick that SCP-049 keeps waving about. Part of this was due to standard confiscation protocols of the possessions of anomalies, and part because 049 really is a menace swinging it around like he does. The subject was displeased at first, but after we made some concessions of providing it with test subjects, which are admittedly more of the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea. SCP-049.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site-19, SCP-049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it has been provided. SCP-049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of SCP-049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. SCP-049 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff. The following is a log of several occasions during which SCP-049 was observed operating on a mammalian corpse. Observational Log 049.OL.1 Summary. Subject SCP-049. Preface. A test subject, D-85123, was introduced to SCP-049's containment cell. The entity expressed sincere gratitude towards all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes. SCP-049 began by asking D-85123 several standard medical questions, as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, SCP-049 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat. Afterwards, SCP-049 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse, often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing. The resulting 049-2 instance became animated, flailing and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs while moaning out an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, 049 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficacy of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move SCP-049 back to containment and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 049-2 instance, and SCP-049 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results. Observational Log 049.OL.2 Summary. Subject SCP-049. Preface. Subject 049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat. SCP-049 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observation notes. SCP-049 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of SCP-049-2. SCP-049 expressed pleasure at this outcome, though admitted the disease was still in its nascent stage. My veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure. Goodness me. Observational log 049.ol.3 summary. Subject, SCP-049. Preface. SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan. SCP-049 expressed noted gratitude at the provision due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, SCP-049 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work. After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, SCP-049 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I have learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I hadn't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure. More subjects like this would do a great deal of advancing my research." Observational log 049.ol.7 full. Subject, SCP-049. Preface. SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. SCP-049 expressed mild annoyance at the provision, though accepted it nonetheless. SCP-049 had stated its desire to work on human subjects several times before this occasion, and the earlier provision of an orangutan noted its discontentness when they would not be provided. Observation notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese. SCP-049 has expressed that it does not require sustenance, but enjoys it and feels that food helps to put it in the right mind to operate. Beginning first by embalming the corpse, SCP-049 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark viscous liquid. SCP-049 described these fluids as essences of the humors, and elaborated by saying the pestilence may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such cases, before true healing can begin, one must find the humors in balance or the body will reject the cure. SCP-049 added to this statement by saying, "This is, of course, elementary knowledge for the practical physician. I would have thought you would have learned that during your education." Over the next few days, SCP-049 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, SCP-049 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs. Oh, and we have a follow-up interview. Let's go.
We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Could you describe your process in detail?
Oh, goodness no. The process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here in my journals, as I have kept exhaustive records of my work there.
Oh, I see.
On. Notably, SCP-049's journals are not written in any known language, and attempts by linguists and codebreakers to decipher them have been unsuccessful.
Well, my concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living, mindless drones helps in that effort.
You do not understand the pestilence, even after all this time. Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror, one that has shown its true face many times before and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it. But many, like yourself, cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend.
That still doesn't answer my question. How's your cure any kind of cure at all?
It is a cure. You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for. Stricken as it was with the pestilence, this creature is now clean, unable to spread the pestilence, and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise.
This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even...
Do not jape with me, sir. You and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes. Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the hall collapses on top of you? No. You find them and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to agitate you. I'm just trying to understand.
Yes. Well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece. I will forgive this as an act of good faith between colleagues.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule. You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies.
Attending researchers note, SCP-049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is it trying to save us all from. I have watched it now over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. Oh, this ambience is about to begin again. We're about to get assaulted with SCP is under, like, a bunch of breaches. Yep, there it is. Anyway. SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 049.3 April 16th of 2017 incident. Starting shortly after SCP-049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to know its displeasure with its subjects and the SCP-049-2 instances. This continued over a period of several months, during which SCP-049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16th of 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it to an instance of SCP-049-2. In the aftermath of this incident, SCP-049 was interviewed by Dr. Theron Sherman.
I need you to explain yourself. SCP-049, You are being directed to explain your actions, and I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment.
My actions do not need to be explained.
You killed Raymond Ham, and then butchered him until he...
Not dead. No, not dead. He is cured.
Cured? Cured of what?
The pestilence, sir. I had thought you, at least, would realize what luck it is. I detected it before.
What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before? That it would be worth his life?
The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashions, and has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared. And call it what you want, Doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured.
He is a vegetable.
I would not expect you to understand. You and your ilk have proven time and time again not to be men of science, but men of emotion. You cannot appreciate the horrors I have seen. Those many millions who have succumbed to the pestilence and been changed.
Your cure cost Ray his life.
No, good sir. I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle. And
What disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man. He was a good doctor.
I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir. You are short-sighted and foolish. Dr. Ham was sick, and I cured him. I am the only one who can do this. My work must continue. There is still so much to learn, so much
I've had
to
enough
do,
of this.
and others
Consider your allowances
can be saved.
revoked.
Even you.
Welcome to Containment,
You know,
049.
might be saved.
We're done here.
I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me. I saved him. Dr. Ham. I cured him. He was sick. I know he was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick, but I can save you. I can save all of you because I am the cure.
Jesus. All right. Addendum 049.4. Post-incident report interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the April 16th, 2017 049 incident report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation.
SCP-049, we are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make?
Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it.
Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham?
Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable. But in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation.
Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview.
Mourn? Perhaps. I had not thought that. It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected, but the work continues. Regrettable as it was, Dr. Ham's death provided important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh, and I have gleaned all I can From your generous supply of corpses, my desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease.
I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, Doctor. I wouldn't be so sure.
Wow. This has been the coolest entry that I have seen by far. This, like, genuinely, this has been the coolest entry. Like, there's been audio logs that have been attached to this. There has been so much information attached to this SCP. I could see why this has such a high rating, and I can see why this is a favorite amongst people who like SCP. This SCP-049 is cool. This is not my favorite one, but this is really cool. I could see why this is a fan favorite. Bro, is that a monoidea? No. Very similar, but no. This is a plague doctor. I knew this would be your favorite. No. This is not my favorite. Gotcha. I think there's so much info because of his popularity. Oh, it's the plague doctor. Yes, it's the plague doctor. And yeah, I can see why. This is an SCP that is featured in SCP Containment Breach. So, yeah, of course this one's popular. I like that there are a lot of them that are just like, one or two little things about it. And then there are these really, really long ones. Like there's SCP-001, which has to be its own damn stream because of how much is there. And then there's this. This is a cool one. Sadly, I feel like I've heard this story before. That's why it doesn't impress me as much. Oh yeah, of course. Just because it's not an original story doesn't mean it's not good. This was quite a good article. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Oh, wait a minute. What SCP am I on? Okay, there we are. I couldn't find the search bar. Let's look up what's next. I have 055 listed. Here we are. SCP-055, Object Class Keter. Special containment procedures. Object is to be kept within a 5 by 5 by 2.5 meters square room consisting of cement, 50 centimeter thickness, with a Faraday cage surrounding the cement walls. Access is via a heavy containment door measuring 2 by 2.5 meters constructed on bearings to ensure door closes and locks automatically unless held open deliberately. Security guards are not to be posted outside SCP-055's room. It is further advised that all personnel maintaining or studying other SCP subjects in the vicinity try to maintain a distance of at least 50 meters from the geometric center of the room, as long as this is reasonably practical. Okay, Jacob, now make an SCP. Make an SCP. I don't think I'm creative enough to make an SCP. I could try it, but I don't know. I think it's not as good as its popularity reflects. There are so many interesting and creative entries, and then the plague doctor that wants to cure the world is by killing people. It's fine, but it's not very creative. Yeah, it's not very creative, but it's still pretty damn good. It's had the best presentation of all the SCP entries I've read by far. Like the thing that SCP-001's entry had, or at least the beginning of it, that was cute and all. But like SCP-049 had like audio logs and like well-developed entries, like logs and entries. That was really cool. It's like the best presented one so far. I hope there are others that are like it. Moving on. Description. SCP-055 is a self-keeping secret or anti-meme. What? Excuse me? Information about SCP-55's physical appearance as well as its nature, behavior, and origins is self-classifying. To clarify, how Site-19 originally acquired SCP-055 is unknown. When SCP-055 was obtained and by whom is unknown. SCP-055's physical appearance is unknown. It is not describable or invisible. Individuals are perfectly capable of entering 055's container and observing it, taking mental or written notes, making sketches, taking photographs, and even making audio/video recordings. An extensive log of such observations is on file. However, information about SCP-055's physical appearance leaks out of a human mind soon after such an observation. Individuals tasked with describing 055 afterwards find their minds wandering and lose interest in the task. Individuals tasked with sketching a copy of a photograph of SCP-055 are unable to remember what the photograph looks like, as are researchers overseeing these tests. Security personnel who have observed SCP-055 via closed-circuit television cameras emerge after a full shift of exhaustive and effectively amnesiac about the events of the previous hours. Who authorized the construction of SCP-55's containment room while it was constructed in this way, or what the purpose of the described containment procedures may be, are all unknown. Despite SCP-055's container being easily accessible, all personnel at Site-19 claim no knowledge of SCP-055's existence when challenged. All of these facts are periodically rediscovered, usually by chance readers of this file, causing a great deal of alarm. This state of concern lasts minutes at most before the matter is simply forgotten about. A great deal of scientific data has been recorded from SCP-055 that cannot be studied. At least one attempt has been made to destroy SCP-055 or possibly move it from containment at Site-19 to another site, meeting failure for reasons unknown. SCP-055 may present a major physical threat and indeed may have killed many hundreds of personnel, and we do not know it. Certainly, it presents a gigantic memetic/mental threat, hence its Keter classification. Holy shit. It is the unknowable. Yeah, I guess. Document 055-1, an analysis of SCP-55. The author puts forward the hypothesis that SCP-055 was never formally acquired by Redacted, and is in fact an autonomous or remotely controlled agent, inserted at Site-19 by an unidentified third party for one or all of the following purposes: to silently observe or interfere with activities at Site-19, activities at other SCP locations, activities with humanity worldwide, other SCP subjects, and or Redacted. No action to counter any of these potential threats is suggested or indeed theoretically possible. Addendum A. Hey, if this thing really is an anti-meme, why doesn't the fact that it's an anti-meme get wiped? We must be wrong about that somehow. Wait a minute. What if we were to keep notes about what it isn't? Wouldn't we remember those? Bartholomew Hughes, NSA. Okay. It's just a quote. Documentation 055-2. Report by John Marachek. Survey team number 19-055-12-7BXE, Jesus, was successfully able to enter SCP-055's container and ascertain the appearance and, to some degree, the nature of the object. Notes were taken according to the project methodology, see Redacted, after which the container was sealed again. Excerpt from a transcript of personnel debriefing follows. Dr. Hughes. Okay, I'm going to need to ask some questions about number 55 now. Number what? SCP Object 55, the object you just examined. I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't think we have a 55. Okay, then, Redacted. I'd like you to tell me what you've been doing for the past 2 hours. What? Subject appears uncomfortable. I don't know. Okay, then. Do you remember what we all agreed? Do you remember that we all agreed that it wasn't spherical? That what wasn't? Oh, right. It isn't round at all. Object 55 isn't round. So you remember it now? Well, no. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know there is one. It's something you can't remember, and it's not a sphere. Wait a minute. What's not a sphere? Object 55. Object what? Doc, do you remember agreeing that something wasn't shaped like a sphere? Oh, right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. It just makes everyone forget everything. It appears to be possible to remember that SCP-055 is not negations of fact, and to repeatedly deduce its existence from these memories. Personnel involved in survey number 19-55-127BXE reported moderate levels of disorientation and psychological trauma associated with cycles of repeated memory and forgetfulness of SCP-055. However, no long-term behavioral or health problems were observed, and psych assessments of survey personnel showed consistent reports of this distress fading over time. Recommendations. It may be worthwhile to post at least one staff member capable of remembering the existence of SCP-055 at each critical site. Okay. SCP-5031. All right, let me put that into my log. SCP-5031. Okay. Next, we need to talk about 55. Oh my God. Oh. This is a continuation about 55. I'm going to make this a bookmark, and I'll come back to that at another time. So let me just, let's see. 5031. Note, file under interview. The document has been flagged for possible methodological issues. Please be aware that the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies. Yes, Mario, can I help you? One moment while I look at my phone. Oh, it's just a meme. Okay, I don't care about your memes. Item number, SCP-5031, Object Class Keter. Special containment procedures. SCP-5031 is to be contained in an airtight iron cell at Biosite 59. The structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction necessary. Description. SCP-5031 is a non-sapient, quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space that SCP-5031 formerly occupied. Traces of its existence, example scratch marks, blood trails, continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not. Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause cessation of existence, allowing certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. Abnormally small head with no discernible neck. Elbows branch into 3 sets of lower arms each. Elongated torso approximately 1.9 meters in length, presumably for extra digestive capacity. Pelvis terminates in a crescent-shaped protrusion of osseous tissue and a blade-like lower edge, and levitates above the ground at a fixed height of 0.5 meters. While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any human or animal it encounters by using its pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. Oh my God. Oh, this is a long one. And you know what? I think this is going to be the last entry because we're past midnight at my time. So this is going to be the last entry for this week, and we will continue this at another time. But for now, Addendum. As of As of February 14th of 2018, senior researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting as the role of HCL supervisor for SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondences from S.R. Huxtable to site director Yusef Mustafi, elucidating research progress. February 14th, 2018. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be. It's difficult to fathom that such things were considered the norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something screaming from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do my redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic to get the boys retrofit the containment cube with an aperture or security vestibule? Vestibule, not vegetable, vestibule. Security vestibule. I'd like to run some tests that require exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli. March 8th of 2018. Round 1 tests. Sound. Summary. Forewarned. Installed speakers in the contained vestibule and played various albums of natural ambience and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as a convenient way to measure its stress levels. 100% would be considered its typical screaming volume and duration over 48 hours, and 0% would be no screaming at all. So the selection, stress level. So Morning Forest ambience, 43%. Seaside Paradise ambience, 48%. Deep Grotto ambience, 62%. The Best of Mozart, 13%. The Best of Enya, 18%. The Best of Ben Folds, 6%. The Best of Jethro Tull, 59%. The Best of Kiss, 23%. Afterward, efficacy of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I've assembled a playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure and perpetuity. Stress levels consistently remain in the 15 to 25% range, baseline adjusted accordingly. March 22nd of 2018. Round 2 tests. Play. Summary. Test. Threw a softball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 sliced the ball in two. Tossed basketball into enclosure. SCP-5031 sliced the ball open. Rolled bowling ball into enclosure. SCP-5031 scratched a couple grooves into the ball, then rolled the ball around the enclosure with the blunt end of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress level remained less than 60% after play. God, is that less than or greater than? I don't fucking know. Rolled another bowling ball into enclosure. SCP-5031 used the blunt end of its tail to hit the balls together for a while. Stress levels remained less than 40% after play. Okay, so it's less than. A bowling ball chipped and would no longer roll properly, unplanned. Stress levels increased to 115%. Replacement bowling ball provided. Stress levels fell back to around 40%. Tossed basketball into enclosure. SCP-5031 picked up and played with ball. Stress levels remained less than 20% after play. Afterward, SCP-5031 began to use its hands to play with the basketball, possibly to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skills comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers bowling balls for kicking. April 5th of 2018. Round 3 tests. Food. Summary. SCP-5031 was given the choice between two potential food sources placed at opposite ends of the enclosure. Human corpse or the pig carcass. It selected the pig carcass. Pig carcass and chicken carcass. It selected the pig carcass. Pig carcass and rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken. My man. Chicken carcass rotisserie chicken, rotisserie chicken. Live chicken, rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken, my man! Roasted turkey and rotisserie chicken, neither, presumed sated. Afterward, while it's true that SCP-5031 doesn't necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly has caused a marked decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seemed to scale proportionally with the quantity of food provided, or quality of food provided. Also of note is that SCP-5031 prefers to use its tail to pry and cut meat into bite-sized portions rather than rip the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. April 10th of 2018. Round 4 tests. Coexistence. Summary. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 observed subject from a distance for several minutes and then rolled a bowling ball towards subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031's stress levels rose immediately and drastically. Aw, poor baby. Test 2. Bowling balls removed from enclosure. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subjects, common chicken, introduced into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 gently rolled a basketball towards the subject. Ball hit subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with subject any further. Test 3. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, blindfolded, introduced into enclosure and instructed to sit and roll basketball forward, then wait until it came back and roll it away. Result. Subject and SCP-5031 successfully rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached the subject. Per safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. Test 4. SCP... Wait, what happened to him then? Per safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. Did they live? You can't just leave me at that. Did they live? You can't just put a test subject into an alien enclosure and then just cut off the test. There's more to that, please. Okay. Test 4. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, introduced to the enclosure and instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall. Let it ricochet behind them, then catch and repeat. SCP-5031 stood behind subject and successfully engaged in game of catch, mimicking subject's actions and letting ball ricochet against the wall. Afterward, SCP-5031's motor skills appear to be rapidly improving. May 16th of 2018. Round 5 tests. Symbols. Summary. Forward. 5 LCD displays were fitted into the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and a food dispenser underneath. Test 1. 2 stations activated. Screen 1 displayed the image of a rock. Its button dispensed rocks. Screen 2 displayed the image of a rotisserie chicken. Its button dispensed pieces of chicken. SCP-5031 poked at the image of the chicken for several minutes and eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied. Screen displays and the materials dispensed were swapped. SCP-5031 hit the button and it had hit the previous day and received the rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense chicken. Amazing. Test 3. Screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped back to their original positions and set to swap again at random intervals after first distribution. Results. SCP-5031 went directly to the button next to the image of the chicken. Experienced apparent confusion after the first mid-distribution swap, but quickly learned to watch the images. Hey, it's learning. That's cool. Test 4. 3 more stations, screens, buttons, dispensers were activated. 4 stations displayed the word rock and dispensed rocks. 1 station displayed the word chicken and dispensed chicken. Apparently, arrangement. How did I get apparently from that? Arrangement set to change randomly several times over the following days. Through trial and error, SCP-5031 determined which station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except one. Screen displayed the word chicken. 7 wood blocks were set in front of the station, each marked with one of the letters in the word chicken. The station's button was set to remain unlit and inactive until the blocks were arranged in the correct order. SCP-5031 expressed apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with its tail. Test 6. Same as the previous test, but screen displayed the word chicken and each letter overlain on a photo of a wooden block. After 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Hey, it did it. My boy did it. Afterward, it can learn language, Yusef. Okay. Now, was it learning language or was it learning visual patterns? Maybe not necessarily the letters and the comprehension of the letters arranged into words, but the fact that blocks of these shapes created the dispense of chicken. By the way, this is still not honey. This is water still. All right. Round 6 tests. Vocabulary. Results. Forward. SCP-5031 has learned to use letter blocks to form the following words. Oh. I guess it is learning language. Cool. Foods. Chicken, turkey, pork, tofu, beef, bread, more salt, more pepper, more cooked. Music. Mozart, Enya, Ben Folds, Forest, Seaside, White Noise, more volume, less volume, silence. Play. Basketball, bowling ball, tennis ball, cat, dog, human, Robert, Stanley, alone. Who's Robert? D52-125. Okay, I wanted to play with a dude named Robert. Afterward. Through its increased vocabulary and human interaction, 5031 has made the following progress. Establish food preferences and dish pairings. Learn to sing non-verbally. Learn to juggle. 6-handed juggling is something to behold. Holy fuck, it learned how to juggle? Holy shit! I'm 26 years old and I don't know how to do that. Oh my god, alright. October 5th of 2018. Oh wait, did I not read... Oh. August 29th, 2018. I guess I didn't read that. October 5th, 2018. Round 7 tests. Activities. Summary. Test 1. Introduce table, paper, and crayons into the enclosure. Live subject D52-125. Hey, it's Robert! Instructed to demonstrate drawing for SCP-5031. Result. SCP-5031 learned to draw discernible subjects depicted in its artworks, including D52-125, SCP-5031, a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. I don't know who myself is. Test 2. Introduce piano into the enclosure. Live subject D52-125 instructed to play chopsticks, blindfolded, and invite SCP 5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. Result. SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days, though it appeared more interested in making its own original music, complete with vocals. These compositions might be considered crude by human standards. Aww. I like this one. This one's fun. This is probably going to go horribly wrong for anyone involved with this, but this is fun so far. It's cute. It's learning. Test 3. Introduce spice rack to the enclosure. Live subject 52-125 instructed to demonstrate seasoning meats. SCP-5031 spent almost 3 straight days experimenting with different combinations of foods and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more with its letter blocks after running out of garlic powder. Hey, my man, he loves garlic powder. Me too! Oh, it's brilliant. I love this. Afterward, SCP-5031 only engages with art and music when accompanied by 52-125, but it continues to be preoccupied with food preparation even when alone. All right, January 4th of 2019. Round 8 test. Cooking results. Forward. Basic kitchen utensils installed in enclosure. Sharp implements withheld per security protocol. SCP-5031 uses its tail to cut food. Live subject D-52-125 instructed to demonstrate preparation of various recipes. Recipes learned. Quesadilla, taco. Oh, fuck. I wish I had my soundboard ready. I'd play hamburger. Damn it. Hamburger. Fried rice, Mongolian beef, spicy chicken curry, chocolate chip cookies, sponge cake with buttercream, fudge, clam chowder, steak, macaroons. This bitch making macaroons. What? Chicken adobo, smoked salmon. What the fuck? Profiteroles? What the fuck is a profiterole? Hold on, I gotta look this up. What the fuck is a profiterole? Oh. It's a cream puff. Okay. It's a fucking cream puff. Got it. Afterward, SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. Oh no! This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to note that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human, and it has begun to create its own recipes. D-52-125 is volunteered to taste test. Holy fuck, this thing's learning! Crystal said they are like cream puffs. What a fucking lat. I agree. My man's learned to cook, play piano, draw, and sing. Holy shit. I love this guy. SCP-5031 has said its first word. Salt. We are all immensely proud. Oh, bless. Bless. Oh, when did this happen? June 30th of 2019. Oh, it's beautiful. November 29th of 2019. Final test. Summary. SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve at the Biosite 59 cafeteria for personnel working over Thanksgiving. Its selections were as follows: sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course, duck confit with apple cider glaze and cranberry compote topping, paired with butternut squash gnocchi with a base of kale seasoned with truffle salt. And third course, a slice of spiced cassava pie topped with French vanilla ice cream and a maple hazelnut syrup. SCP-5031 also debuted its original composition, Piano Sonata for 6 Hands, in a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personnel response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031 stress levels at 0. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval. Ah! It's too cute! What the hell? Oh my god, bro. Dude. This is the best. Alright, this is my favorite SCP. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. This is the best SCP. This is my favorite entry. How do I adopt? Oh, it's so... I loved this. I love this. That's a good spot to end the night. That is a good spot to end the night. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to turn off the ambience now. It's not... Actually, no, I'm going to leave the ambience on because now it feels really abnormally quiet. That was... That last entry, 5031, that was immensely enjoyable. That was immensely enjoyable. I loved every second of that. He's such a good boy. He's a good boy. Oh, that was... chef's kiss. That was brilliant. I am... I can't even put into words how... See, this is what I like about SCP. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's like gloom and doom about SCP entries, but then we get like little moments of levity. Like, the existence of SCP-5031. That's so good. I'm very happy with that. I like that the SCP community opened up to the idea of hugboxing it up and allowing some levity with the facility. That's nice. But that is that. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't visited jacobrusso.com, now would be the time to do so, because the website's going to be going down in a few days. I can't afford to do it. I apologize, but it's a thing that has to be done. I can't afford like $300 for the entire year. Like, if they had a monthly plan where I paid for it monthly, sure, I would do that. But I can't afford it otherwise. And Bluehost, my host, doesn't allow for that. Well, other than that, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, they're all RetroTechComms. And of course, this VOD is going to be going up later on the RetroTechComms, the archives. And if you have not watched the previous reading streams, you totally should, because the original author of the Mystery Flesh Pit commented on the video, liked the videos, and then subsequently followed me on Twitter. Alright? It's kind of a good set of videos, alright? You should probably watch it. But other than that, there's also Jacob Russo on Vimeo. That's vimeo.com/Jacob Russo. You could view some of my, like, preliminary student works, and you can also see an unofficial Believer music video. Yeah, Believer from Imagine Dragons. I made a cut of that music video, at least like the first minute 30 seconds of it. You should watch it, because I really like the editing of it. But that is it. This was fun. I love the idea that this thing was cooking and playing music for a bunch of staffers. It's so nice. I love that. So thank you so much for watching, and I am going to do a little bit of preparation over the next week. Let me pull up the image, because I just want to show this off real quick. That artwork that I have of SCP-173 is an original piece. I made this myself. I drew this, and I am very happy with how this turned out. Next week, I want to feature a different SCP. So, I want to ask, what SCP should I feature next? Please leave comments on the video when this does go up on the archives. And I do have to say, I'm not really open to the idea of creating an interpretation. I would preferably like an entry that does have a picture that I can go along with. I would draw the boy, but I don't have a visual to go with, so I apologize. But next week, I do want to draw a new SCP image for the 4x3 screen for when we're reading. So please tell me which one I should do. Those of you that are in the Discord, the private Discord, please tell me in the staff chat or wherever which one I should draw, and I will draw one of them. Anyway, that's enough of that. Thank you so much for watching. This is Jacob of RetroTech signing off. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. At the time of recording, it is October 29th. So Halloween is in just a couple days. Next time there will be a reading stream, it will probably be past Halloween. So right now I'm just going to say have a happy Halloween, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching.